Hi, I'm TJ Gilroy, and I'd like to welcome you back to Questions on Purpose, where I attack questions about how you discover, develop, and employ your purpose. Right now, we're going through a series called The 11 Reasons That People Don't Know Their Purpose, and reason number 1 was having a hard heart. So let me just backtrack a little bit, review what a hard heart means. A hard heart is whenever you think somebody hurt you or you had a bad relationship, and bottom line is you don't feel loved and your heart gets kind of hard and you're not receptive to a lot of stuff. And I probably need to back up just a hair here right now and mention to you that if you're really looking for and pursuing your purpose, sooner or later you're going to have to realize that your purpose has something to do with the spiritual side of you, and you're just going to have to get good with that. And my easiest definition, the simplest way to explain to you what your purpose is, it's finding your gift and employing it. When you know what your gift is and you're actually using it, you're operating in your purpose. Well, the person who gave you that gift to use for your purpose is the Creator. So if you're mad at Him because you got a hard heart, it's going to make it really tough to find your purpose. Okay, so that's enough of going back. We're up to reason 2, so if you're ready, let's get started. The second reason that people don't know what their purpose is because they don't know what they can do. Before you can find your purpose, you've got to have an understanding of what you can do. In other words, what you're able to do. And there seems to be 2 extremes to knowing what you can do. The first one is you think you can only do what you know. Now, this can be really limiting, and it could keep you from reaching your potential. The second extreme is that you think you can do anything you want, in which case you could have unrealistic expectations and set yourself up for disappointment. So how do you balance these 2 extremes and find the truth for yourself? Well, this kind of reminds me of the story of an eagle that was raised by chickens in a chicken coop. Well, the eagle started off like all the other chickens in there, and they're both eggs. And both eggs look similar, and then when he was born, the chicks, whether it was an eagle chick or a chicken chick, they kind of looked the same. And but what was really happening was the chickens that were raising the little chicks, they started to notice that there was something different about this one bird in there. So the one bird in there who was actually the eagle, he tried his best to be like all the other chickens because he didn't want to stick out. So eventually what happened was the eagle, as he was growing, he learned to peck at the ground and behave like all the other chickens. All the while, he was an eagle, but he was stuck in a chicken coop. So what's the moral of the story? We need to learn who we are. If you're a chicken, you need to be the best chicken you can be. But if you're an eagle and you're surrounded by chickens and you know it, you need to get out. Only doing what you know or what you've been told to do can lead to mediocrity. I mean, the eagle would have been a mediocre chicken at best because he didn't have what it took to be a chicken. But he was born to be an eagle. A chicken cannot be an eagle, so he couldn't fly and soar and be a bird of prey, so it could only be a chicken. Again, You don't want to be a mediocre or anything else. You need to live up to your full potential. Let's tackle the first extreme, the one that you think you can only do what you know. This could mean that you follow in the footsteps of those that went before you and you accept whatever life you were born into. This kind of thinking is really prevalent in Europe, where people don't often step outside their station in life. You ever heard that? You know, their station? That's because they still think in terms of upper classes, nobility, and then everybody else is the rest of the people, and they're stuck with whatever they were born into, what trade they had. And in India, they still are trying to overcome their caste system. But you know, sometimes we do the same things here in the U.S. The other side of not knowing what you can do, the other extreme, is that you think you can do anything. And this can be just as wrong as not thinking you can do enough. Now, I love Walt Disney, and I love all that he accomplished, but this quote on this slide of "if you can dream it, you can do it" can be really misleading. So let me explain. If you've had a dream to be an NBA All-Star, but you're a short white guy with what I call white man's disease and you don't have any court sense, you're probably not going to make it in the NBA no matter how bad you want it. And if you want to be a famous singer, but you're tone deaf, you're probably not going to win any Grammy Awards. And if you want to be a pilot, but you have bad eyesight, you might need to rethink your career choice. At some point, you have to be realistic with what you've been given and what your gifts are. And while we're on the subject of what you can and can't do, a lot of people who grew up in church, or maybe they've had some training on the Bible or whatever, they see this scripture and they actually misinterpret what it's saying. This doesn't mean that no matter what's going on in life, that God's going to come to your rescue because he's on your side and he's the one who strengthens you. That's not really what it means. If you take it in context, what happens is Paul's talking about whether you're in good circumstances or bad circumstances, you can prevail, especially if you're actually fulfilling your purpose in life. That if God called you to it, he's going to back you up, but it doesn't mean that you can do anything that's outside of your purpose. It doesn't mean that at all. It really has to do more with whatever the circumstances are, that you can do what it is that you're called to do. So at this point, you're probably going, so, all right, TJ, what's the point? Well, I'm glad you asked. The point is that when it comes to finding your purpose, most people sell themselves way short. As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So way too many people are spring-loaded to the "I can't do that" mode. So of course they're right. If you think you can't do something, you're probably not going to start it, especially if you've got a negative attitude, and you're probably going to sabotage your own success even if you ever try to attempt it. What if instead you thought of what you can do? So what can you do? Most people don't have a problem of thinking they can do anything. That's not their issue. More people than not have the issue that they don't think that they're capable of doing enough. As James Allen said, the will to do springs from the knowledge that we can do. When you know you can do something, that you have the gift to do it, and that God will supply all your needs to do it, then you'll have the will to do it. Most of the people that we think are apathetic or apparently lazy only appear that way because they don't know what they can do, what they're gifted to do. And if that describes you, then it'll keep you from finding your purpose. Okay, so what can you do? What do you realistically want to do? Do you feel like you're an eagle in a chicken coop? And if so, maybe it's time for you to spread your wings and fly. The tough part about that, about spreading your wings and flying, is that you might have to leave some of the chickens. That would be your friends and your relatives. You might have to leave some of them behind. But I got to tell you that finding your purpose will be worth it. Well, that's it for reason 2. I hope you liked what you heard, and if you do, please don't keep it a secret. Share it. You never know who you might be helping. And stay tuned for reason 3 of why people don't know their purpose. Thank you.